Good afternoon, everybody, and happy Valentine's Day to everyone. This is Lance Wood, and I'll be giving the winter storm briefing for Southeast Texas for the National Weather Service Houston Galveston office. So as you know, we've been talking about this now since late last week. We have a dangerous winter storm coming. Using the term major winter storm, as this is not something we see very often. Really gets going here this evening. I know we've had some light icing already in western areas and northern areas, but the precipitation amounts will really pick up as we get into the evening and overnight hours, followed by the bitterly cold conditions Monday night and Tuesday. So as we've talked about, this poses a threat to life and property, especially with hazardous road conditions, some pipes bursting, causing damage, and then power outages are expected as well. And it's very risky hypothermia for anybody who's outside, especially if you're not dressed properly. So again, we have seen some very light precipitation kind of west of the Houston area and north of the Houston area this morning and overnight, but we'll really expect it to pick up here later this evening. So now's the time to wrap everything up in preparation, and we're making the recommendation that travel should be avoided tonight and through Tuesday morning, given these cold temperatures and precipitation that falls. Any ice and snow will stick around. And for northern areas, and we'll talk about this during the presentation, avoiding travel could extend into the late week period. That's because of the second storm and its impacts that we'll be talking about. And that storm looks to approach kind of late Tuesday night, bring a round of precipitation during the day on Wednesday, and then a trailing lighter area precipitation late Wednesday night into Thursday morning. The threat looks bigger right now for northern areas, but we're having to monitor our central areas for that as well. So conditions at noon here. I know many of you monitor the drive.texas.org website. You can see all the gray patches out there where we have some icing on bridges, on area roadways, and it follows that freezing line that you see on the right, really getting down close to Matagorda Bay, then extending up through Wharton into the western parts of Fort Bend County, far northwest areas of Harris County, and then up north of Houston over towards Livingston. So that freeze line will gradually start advancing to the southeast, especially later this afternoon and into the evening hours. You don't see this very often. In fact, I haven't seen it in my career, that almost the entire state of Texas is in a winter storm warning. That is for our area through 6 p.m. on Monday. We also have a wind chill warning that'll be beginning this evening and going through Tuesday morning, and a hard freeze warning, again, also from this evening generally until noon on Tuesday. We haven't really changed the min temperature forecast very much. Not much you can say other than it being bitterly cold, getting colder throughout the day on Monday. So this is really when the core of that Arctic air starts to reach us, is Monday morning, and then continuing to get colder into Tuesday morning, and some low single digits now being forecast there in the northwest and northern areas of southeast Texas, and then teens, lower teens likely in the Houston area, and then all the way to about 20 degrees along the immediate coast. So again, we haven't seen temperatures like that since you have to go back to December 23rd of 1989, 31 years ago, when Houston had a 7-degree low temperature. So the cold continues, although it begins to moderate a little bit on Wednesday morning. This is going to be kind of critical where the freezing line sets up on Wednesday morning as we get some more precipitation that starts to develop from the west. And we'll be talking about that with our second storm approaching. Some uncertainty on this. You see it kind of real close to Houston right now. It's probably a pretty good bet. That's about where the freezing line will be. And then on Thursday, it could be even just a little bit cooler Thursday morning as that second storm system is exiting. It might tug some colder air down just a little bit further south Thursday morning. Wind chill temperatures, there's not a lot to say here other than, this is temperatures we just don't see. Negative wind chill numbers for a lot of the western portions of the area, and then single digits, elsewhere. So this goes without saying. This is a very serious situation to anybody that's outside, especially for any prolonged period of time. Snowfall forecast that you see on the right. And again, this is for the first event. This is for the main event tonight into tomorrow morning. These numbers have edged up. We're now looking at likely 4 to 6 inches in a band from basically College Station up through Livingston and a little bit to the north and south of that. The maxima may occur more into Houston and Trinity counties. We'll see. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes with banded precipitation, but note there could be some isolated higher totals. Central areas, this has creeped up a little bit too. It's also where some of the uncertainty is because of the changeover from freezing rain to snow, exactly when that happens. But generally thinking 1 to 3 inches, and that kind of edges down into northern Harris County, those kind of numbers. And note, light accumulation at the very end of the event here is possible on the immediate coast. I've added here in the bottom left, you can see the probability of 4+ inches of snow. And you can see real quickly, if you go to a place like Crockett, that's actually in the likely category that you're going to see 4+ inches of snow. And there's a chance of that down into even northern Montgomery County there. And then it tapers off pretty quickly as far as the 4 inches as you get further south. Ice accumulation mainly from freezing rain. Sleet can contribute a little bit to this. We've kind of bounced around in the central areas whether or not, we'll see a 10th. It looks like that the heaviest accumulations of freezing rain will be the southeast areas, including Houston, all the way to the coast. And in those areas, we can expect a 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch. As you get further north, it may end up being a little bit more snow than freezing rain because that changeover will happen much quicker. So that's why when you look at the probabilities of getting greater than 1/4 inch here on the left, you can sort of see that axis that of those higher numbers, those higher chances kind of extend back into Fort Bend County, up into Houston, and then over to the northeast. And that's just the function of the duration of getting the freezing rain versus the snow. And a worst case scenario still looks like, a 1/2 inch in a few spots is possible in those southeast areas. So based on this, you factor in breezy, actually windy conditions at the coast, some snow that's going to follow some ice, and the power demand, as you saw with our picture of the warning across the state of Texas, we're expecting at least scattered power outages Monday and Monday night into Tuesday morning. So we've been showing you these point forecasts. We'll continue to do that here today. Note that a place like Bryan College Station is not likely to get above freezing until Friday. There are 2 periods of precipitation, main periods of precipitation, that is tonight and into Monday morning, and then that second storm that may start very early morning hours on Wednesday there and kind of tapering off Thursday morning. That second storm, I think it's mainly a freezing rain threat for the Bryan College Station area. And the second storm, you could actually end up with more snow than freezing rain, although, as we know, you already have some freezing rain. When I checked the accumulations this morning, it's pretty much a trace to like 0.03 as far as what's already happened, as far as our precip amounts. But we've had that freezing drizzle where that can just kind of accumulate. And given that you're already in the 20s in College Station, we have definitely seen some glazing and some light accumulation. But again, the bitterly cold, look at these temperatures now for Bryan College Station. 3 degrees Tuesday morning is the forecast with negative wind chills. Huntsville, not a whole lot different. You still have also a big threat there in the second storm. And that kind of, again, Wednesday morning, going to be close to the freezing mark kind of Wednesday afternoon. So you could even see some rain briefly, and it goes back to a little bit of freezing rain as you get there Thursday morning. And note that places like College Station and Huntsville will have snow on the ground when the second round of likely freezing rain occurs. And this is why we're concerned about travel across northern areas all the way into Friday morning, where we still have very cold temperatures, maybe back into the teens Friday morning in places like Huntsville and College Station. So one thing I want to talk about with Houston and Harris County, and we talked about how they're kind of on the edge with the second threat. When you look at the hourly temperature graphics, overlaid with the precipitation, there are 2 windows of concern. Kind of the very early morning hours of Wednesday when the temperature is likely hovering around freezing and a chance of some light precipitation there. That would be rain or freezing rain. Then it's likely to warm up above freezing for a while. You may actually get some moderate to heavy rain, and then could come back at the very trailing end of the event as that second storm system's pulling out Thursday morning. You may touch freezing as some light precipitation is tapering off. And then, of course, we do expect a pretty good warm up on Friday. And doesn't that 60 on Saturday look really nice? Galveston, not much concern on the second storm there. I think it's going to be all rain, could be some locally heavy rain. But look at these winds, gusts 35 to 40 miles an hour on the coast here tomorrow, begins later tonight. That's coupled with the rain changing to freezing rain there and possibly ending as some light snow. Wind chill temperatures in the single digits. Just brutal Monday and Monday night there. That's hard to believe we're actually saying that, but that's what it looks like. So we've been showing these precipitation type maps. This is the first storm system of the American model, the GFS model. And this purple area is going to be the area of where we're not sure what the precip type is going to be. Could be a mix of some freezing rain and sleet. I think the blue will be all snow. So College Station may shift pretty quickly to snow here late this evening, but central areas that probably won't happen, more towards early Monday morning. And then it does look like this is a pretty quick mover on Monday, and by mid to late morning, our precipitation is tapering off as the storm system exits to the east. But of course, that's when the bitterly cold air is surging southward. The next storm on Wednesday. I did, again, some screen captures of this. Again, this really looks to be rain and freezing rain for the most part. The snow and sleet looks to be further north right now. I also looked at the European model as well. It has a similar scenario. Of course, exactly where the freezing rain and rain line ends up is still tricky. We need to stay tuned on that. But it could start out as some light precipitation that's freezing rain, kind of in our central areas there. It might start in the western areas. And then that area may transition to the north and heavier rain develops to the south during the late morning, midday hours. And then some kind of wraparound light precipitation at the tailing end of this storm, early morning hours on Thursday. And then Thursday, later morning looks kind of clear. Now note, this is really complicated because we still have snow and potentially some ice on the ground in areas when this second round comes. So we're going to have to hone in on some of these details as we get past our first storm here. So just some probabilities for the second storm. These graphics aren't really available past 72 hours, which is 3 days. So this cuts off at about 6 a.m. on Wednesday right now. So we know the threat's going to increase across the north, potentially, after this time frame a little bit. But just kind of get an idea how this may start and what the chances are. And I've shown the chance of any freezing rain occurring on the left. That's greater than 0.01 of an inch. So those are light amounts, those kind of chances. And then more significant icing, a tenth or more on the right. You can see if that area is really highlighting the western areas and College Station again as we move into Wednesday morning. So stay tuned a little bit on this, but it definitely does look like an icing threat, maybe north of I-10, western areas, and then transitioning across the northern areas during the day on Wednesday, and then some trailing freezing rain maybe Thursday morning again too. So marine forecast, you can also get a point and click on the marine forecast with that IDSS website that we have, those forecast points we've been advertising. Just wanted to show what it looked like kind of at the entrance there to Galveston Bay. Really cold temperatures. It looks like going into the 20s during the day on Monday, and then the winds gusting to gale force there. So very significant there, right there in the lower parts of the bay. We could see some freezing sea spray. We don't normally talk about that here. We're not sure about that, but we're kind of mentioning that as a possibility. Gale warning will be in effect everywhere by 9 p.m. today and goes through the midday hours on Monday. Further offshore, about 60 nautical miles offshore near buoy 19, gusts could be as high as 45 knots later tonight and on Monday. So to summarize, this is just what we had in the overview. We have a major winter storm coming. It poses a major risk to threat and property. We really need people to wrap up any kind of preparation because it's going to get even more dangerous as we move into the overnight period tonight on our roads. Really concerned about our northern areas. Travel could be very difficult even into Friday morning. We talked about the second winter storm Wednesday and Wednesday night. We're going to continue to update you on that as we continue with more briefings. So with that, we will continue. Dan will do the briefing tomorrow at 1 p.m. And I want to thank you for your attention, and we will take any questions now.